All right, it's finally going down. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, February 26th in Saudi Arabia. There's no injury pullouts so far, no visa issues. It's looking like the third time's the charm. And right before the main event of Yard versus Beterbiev, we got to see them face to face for the first time in the ring, where Jake repeated some of his classic lines, such as, "You are about to get knocked out by a Disney kid," and Tommy, for some strange reason, took his shirt off. This fight is scheduled at a catch weight of 185 pounds, which is perfect for both guys. Perfect for Tommy because he's just too big to make the light heavyweight limit of 175, and perfect for Jake because in his last fight where he put on his best performance so far, he fought at 185. All right, so who wins? If you would have asked me that back when they were scheduled to fight the first time, I would have said Tommy cruises to a decision where he basically just jabs his face off for 6 or 8 rounds or however long it is and gets the unanimous decision victory. If not, ends up hurting him from the accumulated damage and gets a late stoppage. But a lot of things have happened and a lot of things have changed since the first time these two were scheduled to fight. Since then, Jake has gotten what will probably end up being the best knockout he's gonna have in his pro career over Tyron Woodley in the rematch. And he had so far what is his best performance in the ring against Anderson Silva, winning by just purely outboxing him. And since then, Tommy honestly hasn't really shown much improvement over the level he was at before. The level of competition he's been in the ring with has slightly increased, but he's giving us performances that are gradually declining at the same time. So it's kind of hard to see where he's at skill-wise, but I can't honestly say that I've seen legitimate improvement. This fight is reportedly being scheduled for 10 rounds. We've already seen Paul go 8 rounds multiple times and pull off the victory. The farthest we've seen Tommy go is in his last fight, an exhibition where he only went 6. Actually, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Paul has not only been in longer fights in terms of the amount of rounds, he's also racked up more rounds in total as a professional than Tommy, which is insane. The narrative going into this, the whole reason that this fight is being built is because one guy is supposedly the real boxer, but this guy has literally spent less time in the ring as a professional. Altogether, these guys are about the same height. Tommy has a reasonable advantage in terms of wingspan. The guy's got some crazy long arms for his size. Tommy does have an amateur background, albeit pretty limited, but outside of that, Jake has pretty much every other advantage going into this. I'm going to give a full breakdown of this fight in a future video, but at this moment, I'm definitely starting to lean towards Jake pulling it off. And not even because of skill, but I think one of the biggest factors about this fight is going to be the pressure. The narrative so far is the reason this fight hasn't happened yet is because Tommy's scared. And I don't necessarily think that's the truth. A lot of people who follow these kinds of fights might not really be fight fans, and they're not used to seeing guys get injured and have to pull out. But unfortunately, that's a reality of the sport. Every narrative going into this is working against Tommy. He's expected to win. His family's talked about just straight up abandoning him in Saudi Arabia if he loses, making him get rid of the Fury last name. I've even seen Big John in interviews talk about that the only problem Tommy has realistically is dealing with pressure. The guy's got the skill. He spent the time in the gym being Tyson Fury's little brother. He has all of the resources. The reason we might not be seeing the performances out of him that he's promised us and that John's promised us might really be because of pressure, and now all of a sudden he's in a main event in a pay-per-view fight with all the pressure in the world on him. But despite all of that, I can definitely still see a scenario where Tommy Fury pulls off the victory. Assuming he doesn't let the pressure get to him and he just goes out there showing us the best version of himself. The guy's probably going to be throwing more volume than anyone else Jake's fought, better punching form, better defensive movement, and unlike all the other guys, he's not washed up. He's not even in his prime yet. He's still reaching towards it. So far, the betting lines have Jake as a slight favorite. I'm interested to see if that moves over time, but I think this is pretty much a 50-50 fight. It just kind of depends on which version of Tommy ends up going into the ring. Let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about this fight? Who do you think wins? Do you think Tommy goes out there and completely outboxes him, or does Jake land the big right hand that ends it all? Thanks for watching.